my company commander, I'm like, well, screw it. Send me back. I'll go help another team. Send me back down with my buds that are in Asadabad. Like I don't want to sit up here and do nothing.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to go do that. And luckily, my company commander, he's like, hey, I got an assignment for you. You're going to Tashkent. And you're going to be the assistant LNO for Siege of Sodif. I'm like, I don't know what any of that means, but sounds cool. Tashkent. I've heard it's an amazing city.
Where is that?
So it's the capital of Uzbekistan.
Okay.
We may or may not have named it Tashkent. I'm young. I'm single. So I was supposed to go help the LNO because now I'm the assistant LNO. Well, I get there. He is a 10th group guy, born and raised in Ukraine. Came to the States when he was like 14, so speaks fluent Russian. 10th group guy retires, goes to work for like the organized crime task force in Miami-Dade, working Russian crime syndicates. This dude isn't much less of a criminal than probably most of the people, but they had stop-lossed him. They brought him back in for his language skills and his cultural skills and all that. This dude was friends with everyone. I mean, the president's daughter, she had a cool nightclub, so we went there pretty much every night. And, my duty station was, in theory, supposed to be the embassy. Dude, I went to the embassy one time, got my badge, and left. And then Vic, I'll just leave his name out, right? It's the LNO, it's time for him to go home on leave. And he's like, all right, so just be cool. If you get in any trouble, you get arrested, call these numbers, I'll be back in 30 days. I'm like, Roger. Well, it was like $250 a day per diem, and I spent every dime of it. Every dime of it. And you're talking about a beer cost 20 cents.
Yeah.
I had been in Afghanistan at this point for 7 months. The only women I had seen were, wearing burqas, except for Hazar Ali's grandma. And let me tell you, an 85-year-old Afghani woman is not a lot to look at. So I find myself, and this is the silk trade route, right? So every flavor of extremely attractive woman is in this town. Asian descent, blue-eyed, blonde-haired Russian girls, and then the freaks, the black-haired, blue-eyed, whatever they were. Interesting people. I was just young, dumb. And like I said, somehow in a place where you could pretty much live for $1,000 a month, I was blowing $250 a day. I didn't make anything off that trip, but I couldn't go to breakfast without getting picked up. They were like, "You American?" Duh. And baseball cap, and I always say it's probably the closest thing I'll ever know to being David Lee Roth. And it ruined me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can never go back to that unless you go back there. So anyway, that was kind of cool.
How long were you there for?
Like 42 days.
How'd they get you out of there?
Well, it was like, okay, we're going home. So hopped the flight back down to K2. And basically my company commander looked at all of us and said, okay, we've got no real exit plan, but 5th group says we can go, or 3rd group says we can go home. And he's like, last one home's a rotten egg. And literally dudes got up and like started running. And so me and my buddy Charlie Withers, and we used to call a nickname Charlie, we would call him Drunken Charlie Withers. You got to drink a lot to earn that name in this crowd.
Yeah.
But Charlie was a stud, man. Is a stud. He was my senior, Charlie, and learned a lot from him, man. He was just an even keel dude, with a good perspective. And numerous times he'd be like, "Come here." Yeah, he was a West Virginia boy, and then the guys. Well, he was originally from West Virginia, but had been a 3rd group guy. Got out, went to National Guard. Always with a dip in. Sometimes with a cigarette and a dip. He'd chew my ass. He'd be like, "Hey, come here." But like in that wise way.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he wasn't like he was very old, early 30s, but I was a baby. They all seemed old to me. And he'd be like, "Hey, come here," I was lucky to have him and a couple other dudes that, you know, were like, hey, bro, come here. You know, don't do that again. You know, nothing crazy or anything. Just, you know, it's just young and wild. And then the whole bunch was too, you know, it's like, hey, you know, you got this left and right limits. Stay away from them. Just keep it in the middle. You're going to have fun. We're going to have a good time. None of us will get in trouble. So I was lucky to have those guys, man. And, you know, so yeah, me and Charlie start figuring our way how to get home. We're jumping plane to plane, and we fly to Germany, and we get on another plane, and we wound up landing at Dover Air Force Base. Like somehow or another, hitched a ride on the C5 Galaxy with the seats that face backwards, the thing before the C-17s.
Yeah.
And got home, and I'll never forget. From there, we hopped on civilian planes to our home of record. Not back to the unit. I mean, we're just at this point, man, we're just doing whatever we want. And, you know, the orders back then were for the GWAT, but our orders were the original program, right, with the code word on it, you know, the cover word for it, which a lot of people don't know. The initial code word for the hunt for bin Laden, it's declassified now, is or was elk hunt.
I didn't know that. Elk hunt.
I don't know many people that do it. Just happened to be, it was like the initial code word early on for the hunt for him. That was his code word.
No shit. I did not know that.
Yeah, it was kind of cool or whatever. And our orders, we could do, you had a beard, and those orders, you could do whatever you want. You get on any airplane, any helicopter. Hell, at one point in my trip to Afghanistan, myself and my Echo flew to Bagram for him to get crypto and me to get money. I'm looking at the flights out of Bagram back to Jalalabad, and it's only helos, bad weather. We can't get there. We're like, okay, but what if, fixed wing, what if we fly to Incirlik, Turkey, and then from Turkey back to K2, and then we get on the C-130 that flies to Jalalabad each week to resupply us.
Holy shit.
We don't tell nobody. We went to Turkey and partied for 4 days, AWOL as fuck. Partied. So we get, yeah, like I said, you had those orders in a beard. You could do whatever you want. So we got our full battle rattle, right? And back then, you know, wearing those big, like, LBVs and stuff, you know, and a bunch of mags and a bunch of frags and PDMs. Did you ever mess with those things? The old pursuit deterrent munition?
No.
It was this little triangular freaking thing. You pulled it and like 6 or 8 wires popped out of it. And if you tripped those wires, the way it was designed, it had an explosive charge in the middle in a sphere and a propellant. So no matter which way it landed on the ground, when it ignited, that propellant would kick it up in the air, boom, and go off like a bouncing Betty. And it wasn't catastrophic. Less comp B than a frag grenade. So not.
Okay.
But still.
Yeah.
To the Air Force guys in Incirlik that we were just dumping our stuff on, you know, and saying, hey, we're going to lock this in your stuff. We'll be back in a couple of days. They're like, what? Wait, what? Who are y'all? What is this stuff? What is this thing? I'm like, well, be careful with that. They're stable as hell. And they're like, well, just lock it up, guys. We'll be back. And they're like, yes, sirs. You know, we're just perping a fraud like we're, you know, important people. But they don't know. And so sure enough, they're like, you know, the base was locked down. Couldn't leave the base. We went to the gate, walked right through the main checkpoint. This is a pretty big secure gate with MPs everywhere. And they're like, hey, guys, you can't leave post. We're like, yes, we can. And they're like, okay. We went to the Mediterranean and partied for 4 days.
Holy
and I mean,
shit.
partied. I'm pretty sure that's probably the only time in my life I was like, had a decent level of alcohol poisoning. It was pretty bad. So we get back to Incirlik to the base, and sure enough, bump into a guy from our company, from the B team, from the command team. And he's like, the fuck are y'all doing here? And we're like, fuck you doing here? he's a master sergeant. We're 2 E6s. And he's like, no, seriously, guys. Don't tell anybody you saw me either. No, seriously, don't tell anybody. We're like, Roger. And so then I didn't tell anybody about us doing that for probably 10 years. We kept it that kind of secret. Like, because you know what I mean? Like, It wasn't like, I mean, we could have gotten in some trouble, probably nothing big. We weren't really AWOL, right? No one told us we couldn't do it.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.